Today we are looking at 12b.1, quadratic functions and systems of three equations. Go ahead and write down the directions in our first example. We're going to be finding an equation in standard form of the parabola passing through the given points. The word parabola tells us it's going to be a quadratic. Standard form, that's our y equals ax squared plus bx plus c form. Notice we're given three xy pairs, and I have three unknowns, a, b, and c. So our goal is going to be to plug in our xy's and solve for a, b, and c, solving a system of equations. So let's go ahead and label. We have xy, xy, xy. And we're going to plug in our points. So -1 is my y equals a times 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c. That's the first one. The second one, -5 equals a times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c. My third one, -4 equals a times 3 squared plus b times 3 plus c. We're now going to simplify them. This one gives me -1 equals, that goes to 0, that goes to 0 equals c. We already have one of our letters. That's very lucky. Not going to happen all the time. -5 equals 4a plus 2b plus c. -4 equals 9a plus 3b plus c. Now that I have my c already, I can plug those in. So I get -5 equals 4a plus 2b minus 1. -4 equals 9a plus 3b minus 1. And I can simplify those. Get a and b by itself, add the 1 over. -4 equals 4a plus 2b. Add the 1 over. -3 equals 9a plus 3b. Now we have a system of two equations. Before we go to solve this, I notice that my top equation, they're all divisible by 2, and my bottom are all divisible by 3. So we're going to divide by 2, divide by 3. And this just makes our lives easier. You don't have to do this, but it'll make your life a lot easier. These two are the two equations that we're going to solve using a system of equations. Now I notice I'm going to use elimination. I notice here that both of these are plus b. So in order to eliminate them, I'm going to times this bottom one by -1. So my top equation stays the same. My bottom equation is 1 equals -3a minus b. I get -1 equals -a, so a equals 1. I'm going to plug this into the top one. -2 equals 2 times 1 plus b. -2 equals 2 plus b. -4 equals b. So I have my a, b, and c. I can plug them into my standard form. Y equals 1 x squared, so I can just write x squared plus bx plus c. And that is my final answer. Before we go on, I do want us to make some notes to ourselves about how we did this. So our first step was to plug in our points into the standard form equation. So let's write that down. 1, plug in points to standard form. The next thing we did is we simplified our equations. Since we got C so quickly, we plugged in C. Here we made our lives easier. We made the equations nicer. We solved our system of two equations with elimination. We plugged in A to find B. And then we wrote our answer in standard form. Go ahead and write down our next problem. And I want you to start by plugging in your points to our standard form equation. Remember, standard form, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And this one's going to be a little more complicated. We're not going to get our c so quickly. Okay, so I have 9 equals a times negative 2 squared plus b times negative 2 plus c. 5 equals a times negative 4 squared plus b times negative 4 plus c. 0 equals a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c. I'm going to go ahead and simplify them. So I get 9 equals, remember, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Here I get a negative 2b plus c. 5 equals negative 4 times negative 4 is 16a minus 4b plus c. 0 equals a plus b plus c. Notice none of these gave us one of our letters right away. So we're going to have to solve the system with 3 equations. So how do we do that? We're going to pick 2 and eliminate a variable, and then we're going to pick another 2 and eliminate the next variable. So I'm going to pick my first 2 and eliminate C, and I'm going to pick my next 2 and eliminate C. Now to eliminate C, I notice both of these are positive. So if I just make one of them negative, we should be good. So I'm going to have 9 equals 4a minus 2b plus c. Notice I kept that one the same. This one I'm going to change. So I'm going to change it to negative 5 equals negative 16a plus 4b minus c. So I times the second equation by a negative. Let's combine. 9 minus 5 is 4. 4 minus 16 is negative 12a. 4 minus 2 is plus 2b. C minus c goes away. We're going to do the same thing with these two. Our goal is to just get 2 equations with a and b. I'm going to keep the second equation the same. I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by negative 1. So 0 equals negative a minus b minus c. I now get 5 equals 15a minus 5b. I always ask myself, can I make my life a little easier? Can I make the equations nicer? I'm going to take this one and divide it by 2. Take this one and divide it by 5. Here I get 2 equals negative 6a plus b. Here I get 1 equals 3a minus b. Now I have two variable equations. So we're going to set up a system of 2 variable equations. So my system of 2 equations, I'm going to have 2 equals negative 6a plus b. And then let's stack them. 1 equals 3a minus b. As we look at this, if I combine these right now, would something be eliminated? Yes, my b's would be eliminated. So I'm good. So 3 equals negative 3a. My b's cross out. Divide by negative 3, a equals negative 1. We got our first answer. I'm going to plug in a to one of these to find b. 1 equals 3 times negative 1 minus b. 1 equals negative 3 minus b. Add the 3 over. 4 equals negative b. So b equals negative 4. And now we'll plug both of them in to find c. So we get to pick one of our 3. I'm going to pick the bottom one. 0 equals negative 1 minus 4 plus c. 0 equals negative 5 plus c, so c equals 5. This gives us a final answer of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, except our c is 5. Now you don't need the negative 1. You can just write so here are our answers. What we're going to do now is write ourselves notes on what we did. So I want you to give yourself time to write yourself notes. I might say something like step 1, I plugged in points. I picked 2 equations to eliminate a variable, and then 2 different equations to eliminate another variable. And then we solved our system of 2 equations and plugged things in to find the other letters. So here, I plugged in my points. Here I picked 2 equations to eliminate a variable. Here I eliminated C. Picked 2 different equations to eliminate C. Then I solved my system of 2 equations, these guys. I plugged in A to find B, plugged in A and B to find C, and then we wrote our standard equation. Okay, I have one more for you to try. I'm going to give time to write all the notes, the little comments down. Go ahead and pause the video so that students can have time to try this example following the steps from example 2. Now that you've tried the example, we have our xy pairs. Let's go ahead and plug them in. 0 equals a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c. Negative 3 equals a times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c. Negative 10 equals a times 3 squared plus b times 3 plus c. All right, I'm going to simplify all of these. As I'm looking, I need to make my choice of what letter I'm going to first eliminate. Looking at how I have just one C in all of them, I'm going to pick C. So I'm going to pick the first two and the last two again. Since they're both plus for the first two, I'm going to change the bottom one to flip the signs. So I'm going to get a positive 3, negative 4a, negative 2b, negative c. For the second chunk, again, they're both positive, so I'm going to flip the signs on the bottom one. Positive 10, negative 9a, negative 3b, minus c. So I have 3 equals negative 3a minus b, c's cross out. 7 equals negative 5a minus b, c's cross out. I'm looking at my equations. Can I simplify them at all? Divide by anything? No. So now I do a systems of 2 equations. So I'm going to stack these. Will anything be eliminated right now? Not quite. I need to change one of my b's. So I'm going to keep the top one the same. And the bottom one I'm going to times by a negative 1. I get negative 4 equals 2a. B's cross out. A equals negative 2. I have my first letter. Now I can plug in A to find B. Plug it into this one. I got B equals 3. And then I'm going to plug both of these into my first one to find C. This gives me my answer. Y equals negative 2x squared plus 3x minus 1.